Jefferson County Court at Law number 2 is back in session. The court is in session. The call is number 330208. Case is style, the state of Texas versus Demetrius Gerald Wheeler. Let the record reflect that Mr. Wheeler is present in court with his attorney, Attorney John West. Let the record also reflect that the state is present with Assistant District Attorney, Attorney Colby Hoffbrow. Let the record also reflect that the jury is not present in the courtroom. State, are you ready?
Thanks, ready, Judge.
Defense, are you ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Mr. Bailey, could you please call in the panel? Oh, Mr. West, take your bag out of that chair. Somebody's gonna be sitting in it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes.
Yes, please sit in the same chair that you have. Somebody move the chair. There's a chair right there. Oh, that was it hurt. Let the record reflect that the court is back in session. It calls number 33028. Excuse me, calls number M330208. Let the record also reflect that the panel is back in the courtroom. The defendant, Mr. Demetrius Gerald Wheeler, is present in the courtroom with his attorney, Attorney John West, and the state is present with Assistant District Attorney, Attorney Colby Hoffbrow. State, are you ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Defense, are you ready?
Ready, Your Honor.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen of the panel, our court coordinator, Ms. Glenda Segura, is going to call some names. When you hear your name is called, please walk up to the jury box. And once you walk up to the jury box, you will notice that there are some tags in the chairs. And make sure that you get a tag and pin it on you. At this time, Ms. Segura.
Annette Shepherd.
Ms. Shepherd.
Alicia Shepherd.
Now, Ms. Shepherd, you're going to take that second aisle and walk all the way down to the end of the chair that has the black and yellow tape on it. Who's next?
Alicia Kaczynski.
Ms. Kaczynski.
Sig Batman.
Second row, middle chair with the black and yellow tape.
Trina Bright. Roosevelt Rito.
Okay. Now, I think this Miss, is that Beta? Beta, you right there. Miss Grace is next. Would you please gonna take that first row in the jury box and the chair all the way down to the end with the black and yellow tape. Mr. Rito, you sit in the next chair on the first row with the black and yellow tape.
Whitney Broussard.
Broussard. Mr. Broussard. You're gonna sit in this first chair in front of the jury box with the black and yellow tape, yes. Make sure you pick up the tag.
Lori Hill.
Ms. Hill. You're gonna sit in that chair with the black and yellow tape. Now, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, earlier during our impaneling, I mentioned to you that I had 2 oaths to administer. You was administered the first oath. Now I must administer to you the second oath. And I need everyone to please raise your right hand. And once I finish administering the oath, please say, I do. Do each of you solemnly swear that in the case of the state of Texas versus Demetrius Gerald Wheeler, the defendant, you will a true verdict render according to the law and the evidence, so help you God? I do. You may put your hand down. Members of the jury, I will give you some instructions and a general idea of what to expect in this case. Ms. Segura? Every case is composed of facts and the law as it applies to the particular case. The facts come from the witnesses on the witness stand. The law comes from the statutes, codes, rules, and other court decisions interpreting them and how they may apply to this case. You and I have equal authority in this case, but it is divided authority. You are the sole judges of the facts, and I'm the sole judge of the law. You are the sole judges of the credibility of the witnesses and the weight to be given their testimony. You can believe all of what a witness says, part of what a witness says, or none of what a witness says. As the trial progresses, the attorneys will probably make objections to questions asked by the other attorney of witnesses, or objections to the introduction of documents or objects. This means that in the objecting attorney's opinion, there is a legal reason why the testimony or document or object should not be received by you. Sometimes I will simply sustain or overrule the objection. At other times, it may require a lengthy discussion outside of your presence. If that happens, I will either ask you to step outside for a few minutes or ask the attorneys to come up to the bench so that you can't hear the discussion on the point of law. The reason for this, as I told you earlier, you are the sole judges of the facts you receive, and I am the sole judge of the law. I can't be with you in the jury room when you deliberate the facts. Therefore, you can't be present or within hearing when I deliberate questions of law. The reason why I will sometimes ask you to step outside is because it is simply the most efficient way to do it. Otherwise, if we were to leave the courtroom, the court reporter would have to gather her equipment and take it with her, and the attorneys would have to gather their files, etc. The rulings I do make on questions of law in your presence are not evidence, and you are to disregard them. After all the evidence is in, and both the state and the defendant have rested their cases, the court will prepare and submit to you a written charge instructing you on the law in this case. We will then hear oral arguments from the attorneys. The attorneys have the right to make a summation of the evidence and make reasonable deductions from the evidence. Since the state has the burden of proof, it has the right to open and close the summation or argument. Until you retire to deliberate, do not discuss this case amongst yourselves, and under no circumstances should you permit anyone to discuss the case with you. Do not attempt to learn from any source outside of the courtroom anything about the facts of the case, nor attempt an independent investigation on your own. Don't visit the scene involved in the facts of the case. Don't read any reports in the newspaper or watch TV reports about the case. Do not make up your mind about this case unless all the evidence is in and you have been instructed on the law. Don't take notes during the progress of the trial. Don't visit other courts during a break if a trial or other proceeding is in progress. At the first break, the bailiff will the bailiff already have handed you identification tags, and so wear those identification tags at all times. Ladies and gentlemen of the panel, those of you who were not selected as jurors in this case, on behalf of the citizens of Jefferson County, Texas, on behalf of the staff here in County Court at Law Number 2, I'd like to thank you for taking time out from your busy schedules. I know some of you may be disappointed because you were not selected on this jury, but please do not be disappointed because your presence here was effective, and it is helping this court as well as other courts in Jefferson County to move a case. So on behalf of the citizens in this county, and behalf of the staff here at County Court at Law Number 2, I'd like to thank you for taking your time out. Now, if you need an excuse, the district clerk's office, are they still open? I think they may be still open if you need an excuse for your job, or if you need something else from them, you can get that information from them. Now, normally, I usually give everyone a handshake upon leaving here for your participation. Under the circumstances, I cannot give you a handshake. However, I can give you an air handshake. And I'd like to thank you for being here today. And our bailiff have some letters for you. Please feel free to get one of those letters. And anytime you're in the area, that is, if you're in the area of County Court at Law Number 2, please feel free to have a seat in County Court at Law Number 2. Now, the area that's behind that wall, that's where you'll be sitting. We call that the jury box. Now, well, actually, we call that the peanut gallery. Now, it doesn't mean you can bring peanuts in here and eat. This is not the Texas Roadhouse. However, you can come in to this courtroom and see what goes on in your courtroom. I know when you came to court today, somebody looked over the top and said, I'm in the right place. This is Judge Holmes' court. No, this is not my court. This is your court. I'm only an elected official serving the citizens of Jefferson County. So anytime you're in the area, feel free to see what goes on in your court. The other thing is, if you want to continue to see what goes on in this case, you can remain seated here and watch what is going on, or you could look at our YouTube channel, Judge Terrence L. Holmes in County Court at Law Number 2, Jefferson County, Texas, and you can watch the trial and see how it progresses. Now, at this time, ladies and gentlemen, you're excused and you have a blessed day. You can, wait a minute. Mr. Porter. I think we got our docket tomorrow. I don't think it's that large, is it?
Take a quick look. I don't think so.
Okay.
From what I remember, Judge, we got our just on regular docket in the morning.
Okay, so
I think we have.
10:30. Having them coming back at 10:30. That's what I'm thinking.
I told my witnesses to be, I'll tell them come earlier than Adam 10, 11.
At 10?
Ready for 1 o'clock, but I'll get them to come
We
early.
could come, I mean, probably with the number of witnesses, we might need to start a little early.
We don't have,
We don't have a large docket tomorrow.
I'm whatever you need, Your Honor.
if 11's okay.
11, okay. Let's do
That's
that.
all right.
Okay,
11?
okay, 11. Okay, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, we're going to start back up with this trial tomorrow at 11 a.m. And so we need everyone to meet in the hallway outside of the courtroom. And then when we're ready for you to come in, the bailiff will come and get you. Make sure that everybody is wearing their badge. And make sure you're wearing your badge. So at this time, the court will be in recess until 11 a.m. on tomorrow morning. And everyone, please stand for the jury. You're excused.